insurance needs, basically. So including your home insurance needs, your life insurance needs, the travel insurance needs, if you want to purchase any form of policies, Assure Advisors is available to assist you with that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Akusia. That's great. So that's Akusia, our Business Development Manager of Assure Advisors. Thank you, Akusia, once again. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just a precursor to the main presentation. Two polls to run. We'll sort of ask some questions which will pop up on the screen, and I would expect you to answer them. The first question, as I said, as the precursor to the main introduction, by which we put the poll is, do you know the difference between a cash? Sorry, do you have a life insurance policy? Do you have a life insurance policy? So there's something on the screen. Please answer. This will help us as we move on, to sort of zoom in on the presentation very well. So I want to indulge all of us kindly answer that question. So later the outcome for all of us. Thank you so much. All right. So I think the poll is going on. Thank you. So we can see that 50% of people here have and 45% do not have. So we are still on. At this juncture, I would want to run the second poll. The second poll. Okay. So the second poll is whether you know the difference between the cash policy and a standard policy. So we can see that answers are coming. 30% of the respondents seem to know the difference between the life cash policy and then the standard policy. We have 71% thereabout who do not know the clear difference between the two. I think the presentation will zoom in on all of this to bring us, the answers quite well. Thank you. So at this juncture, I want to introduce our main speaker for tonight's presentation. The gentleman we have with us presentation on the topic for this evening is Mr. Davidson Asafweji. He is with the Enterprise Life Group as the broker relations manager, and he's someone who has hands-on deck knowledge and experience in all the policies that we have here at Enterprise. And he's well poised to give us a very detailed, information about what these policies are all about. So, Mr. Davidson, without further ado, we want to welcome you to take over from here now. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Thank you to Eddie. Thank you, and thank you to everyone for joining us this evening. And good evening. So as Eddie said, my name is Davidson, and I would take us to dive deep to understanding the difference between a cash policy and a service policy. So Eddie, I believe I have the permission to share my screen so that
yes, please do.
All right, so let me quickly share my slides so that all right. So great. I hope all of us can see the screen.
Yes, we can.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So the topic is already mentioned, the difference between a cash and service policy. Enterprise Life, as Akusia mentioned, is a great partner of Assured Advisors. And we've worked with Assured for quite a long time. Please give us these opportunities to engage and interact with all of you. And it is always a pleasure to be part of such wonderful engagements. I'm glad to note that at least 55% of us here have life insurance. At least more than half of the people on this call have insurance, which is great. Ordinarily, if it was a face-to-face interaction, we would try to, assess whether the service that we have, the cover that we have is enough. Because buying insurance or owning a life insurance is one thing, having enough or adequate cover is another. I am sure Eddie will take that up so that at least our able reps will be able to get in touch with you, help you understand whether your cover is adequate, and if it is not, then they can make suggestions as to how you can make it adequate. Because it is not enough just to have the cover, but you should have something that is adequate, because we all buy insurance for a reason, and we need to have adequate cover. For those of us who are technically virgins and don't have, for you, of course, it gives us opportunity to engage with you and then make sure that we cure that, so that once you get to know the benefits of having insurance, I'm sure by being part of this webinar, it means at least you are ready to listen, and that is a plus for us. We'll take steps to make sure you all get the necessary cover. Now, on to the topic for the day. At Enterprise Life, we've been here for quite some time. In fact, insurance in Ghana is 100 years, but life insurance is just about 23 years. Life insurance on its own, standing on its own leg. So prior to 2001, life insurance was a desk in any insurance company that you visited. It was just a desk, like one of the products, like fire, marine, all those desks. That is how life insurance was. But then from 2001, after the promulgation of the necessary laws and the LI to go with it, life was separated to stand on its own. So I'm sure most of us probably didn't take notice, but having life insurance company like Enterprise Life, SIC Life, Pollard Life, Metropolitan Life, all started after 2001. So we also started from there, and we've been in operation up to today and still soldering on. As we speak to you, Enterprise Life is the #1 life insurance company in the country. And you can confirm that on the website of NIC. Okay, we control more than a quarter, or around a quarter of the market share. We are happy to be number one. We like leading, but we are able to do all this because of the constant interactions with you and the valuable feedback that you provide us with, which helps to keep us on our toes and offer you services that is commensurate with your expectations. We always want to exceed your expectations. So all the feedback that today you would note down, even if you don't ask it, please put it in the comments for us so that we can take it on and then improve in our service delivery to you and all the customers who are not part of this engagement. All right, so as an institution, we have quite a number of solutions for our customers because we know we all have different needs. And in order to be able to meet those needs, we have different solutions for our customers. I'll quickly run through some of them before we get to the meat of our discussion. So we have one interesting policy that we call Family Income Security Plan. It is the only income guarantee solution that you would find. Income guarantee. We work to make money, and then that money we use it to support our family, support anybody who depends on us. But then what happens if you're unable to work again? I mean, sickness can come, injury, accidents, that is permanent disabilities can come, and even death can come. When those things come calling, then what happens? That is when your income security plan would come in and come to save you. Aside that, because we are not discussing those ones, I'll just run through them. We also have a female-only solution that we call Bloom. Bloom. We want you to live a life with a flourish. This one is designed specifically for women. A man can buy for the spouse, but you can't buy for your sister or your mom. But any woman who is 18 years and above can also buy. And that is the Bloom. And then we also have Educare, education plan designed to cater to the needs of our younglings, our children, and even ourselves, if we have plans of going to school. Then we also have lifetime needs. This is quite an old policy. I'm sure a lot of people remember it. Lifetime needs is still here, LTN, or people usually refer to it as lifetime. That one too is here. All right. And then the two main policies that we are going to look at today. The first one is what we call the Funeral Finance Plan Unlimited, the funeral plan. And then we will juxtapose this one by another policy called Transitions. We are looking at fundamentally a cash policy and a service policy. Now, all the four policies that I've already mentioned, they are all cash policies. When you sign on to those policies and whatever conditions have been set is met. So conditions, by conditions, I mean what is stated in the contract that when this happens, the insurance company will come in and provide that. When any of those conditions are met, you end up getting a cash payment. So you are paid an amount that is pre-agreed at the point of signing. Of course, with us, we are always aware of the time value of money. Because money, we have an inbuilt system that helps to also grow your benefit time passes. Of course, your premium grows, so your premium increases and your benefit also increases at a commensurate level. Making sure that the value of 1,000 into 2020 will not be the same today. So if you sign up for 1,000 in 2020, we don't hold just that 1,000. But then by now, which is 2024, we should be somewhere around 1,500 or 1,800 or even 2,000, depending on what you selected as an inflation protector. So when we talk about cash policy, it is simply the return that you are going to get from your insurance company is going to be cash-based. And almost, or I think about 90–95% of the policies that are available in this country, in fact, general business, life, health insurance, any of them, you are going to usually get money. Of course, with health insurance, you will not get the cash paid to you. It's technically also a service. Health insurance is also a service. So when you look at that one, the cash side, all the policies that I've mentioned. So I mentioned Family Income Security Plan, the income guarantee. I mentioned Bloom, which is the female-only policy. Then there is the Educare, educational policy. There is the Lifetime Needs, which is primarily a savings policy. So all those ones, plus the Funeral Finance Plan Unlimited, they are all cash-based. Once you sign up and the conditions are met, we pay you based on conditions were agreed upon. Today, we are going to position that against our only service-based policy. With the service-based policy, you are not going to entirely get cash, but you are going to be served with a particular service. A particular service. So you sign up onto an insurance policy, but when it is time for you to redeem, you don't only get cash, but you get a service. Imagine signing up to a policy and then instead of redeeming it, you are taken to a restaurant to be served food as your reward or as your payment. That is basically what the service policy is like. So let's take a trip back and look at what the main two policies that we are going to look at today, how they shape up. The first one, the Funeral Finance Plan Unlimited. And this policy has been here for quite some time. Funeral policy has been here for some time. Is there a question or something, please?
Sorry.
Okay, all right, thank you. So the Funeral Finance Plan is the flagship product of Enterprise Life. In fact, we are the pioneers of funeral policy in Ghana. It was first introduced in so Enterprise Life started on its own in 2001. And 2 years later, we introduced the Funeral Finance Plan. At that time, it was quite limited in scope. It only covered a person, the spouse, and then parents, 2 parents only. At the time, the maximum benefit one was 20 million old currency. So in today's terms, like 2,000. That is when it was first introduced. It was hailed as an icebreaker because at the time it was the first in the country. We all know how funerals are. You don't come from, you may have to probably take a loan to do a funeral. Where I come from, people who don't even talk to you who come for your funeral. So funeral is quite a big thing. So when it was introduced in 2000, like, oh, we want something that, of course, is good to have this, but we wanted something that would help us to do proper, funeral for our parents. But the focus was on the policyholder. So with the 2003 one, the policyholder, whatever the policyholder was entitled to, the spouse got same, and the parents got half. So with the benefit, the highest benefit at the time being 2,000, it means the policyholder will get a cover of 2,000. The spouse will get 2,000, but the parents could only get half. So after these feedbacks from customers, it was revised in 2009, and it was revised again in 2013. And we did a major overhaul in 2019. When we did a major overhaul in 2019, we introduced the term unlimited. This unlimited simply took away age restrictions. So from that time, as you can see, there's no restrictions, there are no limits. It doesn't matter your age. In fact, excuse me to say, if Chief Imam is your grandfather, we all know he's more than 100 years. If it's your grandfather, you can still cover him. So we allow people to cover whoever matters to them, irrespective of the person's age. That is what the unlimited is about. And now the benefits ranges from the 2,000, which was the upper ceiling in 2003, now is the minimum, all the way to 50,000. All the way to 50,000. That is what Unlimited can do for you. There are a number of small things around it that once you buy, you can enjoy. Now, with this policy, you could cover up to 16 people. 16. You, your spouse, your parents, in-laws, grandparents. You know, we are in Ghana. Guardians also feature in our lives. You could cover children. You could cover siblings. Of course, now, unlike when it first started, where you covering yourself was automatic, now it is optional. Okay. Now, though we advise people to cover themselves because strong, they are not going to die, but nobody really knows who is going to die and when. So it is important that even though you can buy it without covering yourself, we always encourage our patrons to cover themselves. And of course, we have the term, we have just two options. You can take it for 10 years or 15 years, not less and not more. And with this policy, it is a whole life policy. It's a whole life policy, but we allow you to pick a term. So you pay it for that term and then you stop paying. So if you pick 10 years, you pay it for 10 years, you don't pay again. The policy hasn't stopped. It still covers you, but you don't pay again until all the lives are redeemed. That is, as and when they die, then you put in a claim. As and when they die, you put in a claim and take your benefit and do a proper send-off for those people who suffered to bring us into this world. And anybody else who impacted on our lives. Now, if at the 10th or 15th year, that is when it matures, you decide that, look, this my family members, they are not going to die now. Let me just forget about this whole thing. You can come and take your premiums back. You can come and take your premiums. And probably when you decide that you think they may die, you can then buy. But of course, we always encourage you to leave it. Already paid. Just leave it as and when they die, then you come for the sum assured. With the payment frequency, with these policies, you can pay monthly, quarterly, bi-annually, that is half yearly, or annually. When you pay annually, you get some discount, 10% discount. All right. And then, so that is a cash policy. That is a cash policy. So with this Funeral Finance Plan Unlimited, when you sign on and there is a death, once you provide the necessary documentation, and when we talk about documentation, we are just asking you for a proof of death. You can't just come and say, oh, I bought the policy for my dad and he's dead. Where's the proof? And then you feel like, oh, I'm just telling you I'm wearing black, so that's enough. So just telling us that you are wearing black is not enough. Okay, so I've seen, I think there's one question there. What is cash and service policy? And basically, a cash policy is a policy that you sign on and the reward, the payout is in cash only. You only get it in cash. And of course, now we don't do tabletop where we'll pay you physical cash. We'll pay it to your account. If the benefit is less than 5,000, it can be paid to your Momo, your registered Momo. But for funeral policy, most of the payouts are more, so naturally to go to your bank account. And then a service policy is a policy that you don't necessarily get the payout in cash, but it is a form of service. Somebody will say it is in kind, but this one, I don't know whether we should call it in kind. So it's a form of service. So we serve you, we do something for you as your payout with the service policy. And let me glorify funeral policy a little before I just jump to the service policy. The funeral policy is being offered around now. Of course, having pioneered it in 2003, there are a number of other institutions who are also offering funeral services, which is good. It means at least we introduced something that has caught on. Now you can find it with Glyco, you can find it with Old Mutual, you can find it with Hollard. Prudential is also offering it. GCB Bank, yeah, bank that GCB. They also have offering a funeral plan, and then Stanbic is also offering some. Why am I mentioning competition? I'm mentioning them because though they are all offering funeral services, funeral plans, none can match the enterprise one. For all those ones, the maximum age of entry is 74. None of them will go past 74, unless, of course, it is a group policy. The group policies, some of them can go up to 80 years for group. So when it's a group, we mean a number of people coming together to form a group to buy. And that one, the benefits are limited. The benefit ranges from 2,000 to 50,000. 50,000. And we are giving you no age restriction. Telling you that, look, it doesn't matter the age of your beloved people, your dependents, the people you want to cover. We still got your back. All right. So let's look at what the service policy is then. Service policy, as I said, rather than just giving you only cash, the service policy is going to give you kind, give you a service. At Enterprise, we only have one policy that gives you that. And we call it Transitions Plan, Enterprise Transitions Plan. At the basic level, what kind of service are we going to give you? A transitions plan is technically a funeral home service, a funeral service. So transitions is a funeral service. And when you look around, you know, transitions being introduced by homes, and we have funeral homes. There is Lashibi Funeral Home, there's Gilman and Abbey Funeral Home, there's T. Cribb and Sons Funeral Home, and a number of them. So when you are picturing what transition service is like, just imagine that one, a funeral home. But now, what we are asking you to do is, rather than save money somewhere to go and pay for funeral home service, we are saying that buy an insurance policy. Why should anybody buy insurance policy? You are buying insurance policy because with the insurance policy, you are technically paying small. You are doing susu. So every month, whatever benefit you would select. Okay, so I'm getting questions. I'm sure we'll deal with the questions as soon as we are done with the presentation. So we'll answer all the questions. Please keep them coming. Keep all the questions coming so you don't forget them. Or you can write it on a, if you have a piece of paper, but you can also write it there. Then we'll take all the questions. All right, so I was talking about the transitions service. So what we are saying is, rather than take a loan or probably be doing some savings somewhere, and then maybe your son, your daughter, a child will get sick, a family member will get sick, and you have to dip your hand into that money. Or a child is going to school, there's an unexpected expenditure, you dip your hand into that money. We are saying, leave that money with us. You're not bringing bulk money. You determine how much you think you would need for that grand funeral that you want to organize for the loved one. And then, once you have thought about that and decided how much you would want, we are giving you permission to choose between 5,000 and 100,000. 5 and 100,000, 100,000, 1 billion old currency. We are saying you have the option to choose that to do a grand funeral for your loved one. We know the way our parents suffered for our sake. So with this service, once you buy that policy, and of course, our funeral policy and our transitions plan all have what we call waiting period. And when we talk about waiting period, it is the period after which you can enjoy the full benefit of the policy. Now, when you are buying these policies, mind you, we will not come to your house to know whether your loved ones, the people you are covering, they're already sick or not. So to make sure that people do not just come to buy the policy when doctors have told them their loved ones will not live more than 3 days, to cure that, we have a waiting period that spans 6 months or 12 months. 6 months for anybody you are covering who is less than 74, and anybody above 74, the waiting period is 12 months. So those ones have been set as part of the conditions of our policies. And it is designed primarily to prevent people trying to cheat the system. We all know people try to take advantage of every situation they get. So, of course, we have inbuilt systems to check that. Now, once you go past the waiting period, if you were doing savings at your bank, maybe you've done a standing order to deduct, let's say 1,000. But by the time you've done 2 years, 1,000, 2 years, that's 24 months. You have what? 24,000. But if you had bought a transitions policy, and after 2 years, the person passes on, is called to the maker, called to glory, and you chose 100,000, we are going to give you 100,000. In fact, with updates, it will even be more. Cash. It's not cash for the transition. You're not going to get cash, but that is the money. And with that, you then get to choose the kind of services that you want transitions to perform for you. So when we talk about a service policy as against cash policy, with a cash policy, we'll give you the money. Then you have to go and sit down with your family, do meeting, and plan and execute your funeral. But with the transitions policy, you get something better. You get something great. And what you get, basically, is a service that is unparalleled, a service that is unmatched. In fact, the last transitions policy that I led one of my people to sign was from a competitor. The deputy managing director of one of our biggest competitors went for a transitions service, and as soon as he came, she called. She called one of my agents, and the agent invited me to go because, I mean, naturally, she was surprised. And we went there. We went to the competitor's office. He said, oh, don't worry, because we don't have this, your service. Before I even say too much, let's watch this.
It was a light, rainy day.
Eddie, kindly tell me if the sound is coming. I want to be sure the sound is coming.
Our way to say our final goodbyes. Memories came flooding in.
Yes, the sound is coming, but if you could increase the volume just a little.
From the moment we entered transitions, we felt a certain calm and assurance. We were ushered to the arranging office, where a professional carefully took us through all the requirements. We found just the hearse and casket Papa would have wanted in a casket showroom on the premises. Transitions had even helped bring Papa back home from the States with their special repatriation services. From the private mortuary, where we transported Papa with their removal services, to the embalming room. We were convinced this was the right place. And on the day when the transitions hearse and fleet of cars safely carried us to their elegant chapel through the soft showers, we held hands, looked into the tearful faces of the hundreds who had come to show support, found the solace to keep moving on. These are our beautiful eternal memories. What would you like yours to be?
Thank you. So with all these services, of course, you can do a walk-in. You can walk in to purchase that service, just like you can walk into any funeral home to purchase their service. But with transitions and with enterprise and Assure advisors, what we are giving you is the opportunity to buy a policy, just as you buy any policy, Educare, LTN, FISP, Bloom, and then you get the opportunity to enjoy the full complement of the transition service. Rather than just be giving money, here we take the hassle of organizing, the hassle of planning a funeral. In fact, when it comes to funeral, nobody is experienced. Until you lose somebody who is very close to you, you never know the hassle you go through. And I'm sure most of us are aware that people who are close to us, when they lose people, by the time they are done with the funeral, they lose weight. The weight loss is not because of the person who is dead. It's the drama, the hassle, the struggle, arranging for everything, including water. And when you are done with all that, somebody will say, when I came, I didn't even get food. When I came, nobody came to welcome me. Oh, when I came, I didn't even see you. And it is just because of the running around. Now, with transitions, we are saying that it is a service. And that service, we are taking it off you so that you will get time to grieve properly. You will get time to mourn properly. We want you to focus on the most important things on the day. So from the point where the expiration, the death occurs, all you need to do is to just give the transitions people a call. They will come remove the body, take it to the morgue. Whatever they need to do, they will do it. Facial reconstruction, whatever. And it's not like they will sit there, we will sit there and just do what we want. We sit down with you, go over things, and know exactly what your taste is like. Maybe it's a death, but you want all white. It is done. Even if you want it done in a farmer's way, green, we'll do it. All you need to do is just choose, decide, and we do it for you. Now, this service, this unique service, where we offer caskets, not coffin. In fact, when you want coffin, that one, you come to the mortuary road. We offer caskets. With all this, you do it by buying a policy. What it means is that you don't need to save up to whatever money you were looking for. Once you are on the policy and you go past the waiting period and the death occurs, we do it. So you bought for 100,000. After 7 months, the person died. We come and do it for 100,000. We are not coming to do, let's say you were paying 500. After 7 months, so you've paid 3,500. We are not coming to do a 3,500 service. We are coming to do 100,000 service because that is what you sign up for. And that is what insurance stands for. That when something goes wrong, we'll pay you that sum assured. But this one, because it is a service, we are not going to pay you the sum assured. We are going to render the service to you. There are some features about this policy. In fact, it's a whole life policy. Unlike the funeral policy, where you pay for some time and stop, this one is a whole life. You pay it. And this one, it lapses. You have to be ready. So you'll be paying all the time. You don't mix payments. There are no maximum age limits for the people you can cover. And here, with the funeral, you could cover up to 16. Here, you can cover up to 12. 12. With the funeral, the inflation protection, where you can update it, that one is variable. It starts from 0 to 30. But with transitions, because it is a service, we are coming to render a service to you. It's not cash. Because of that, the inflation protector is flat. It's 15%. It's fixed. And the waiting period is the same, 6 months for all those who are 74 at the point of inception, and 12 months for those who are more than 74 at the point of inception. If you add anybody later, then that person will wait 12 months. That one, it doesn't matter the person's age. In all this, there is an exception to accidental death. God forbid if somebody dies through a car road traffic accident, there is fire, there is flood, there is gunshot, and there's a death. We don't consider waiting period. Even if you bought the policy this morning and the person was, God forbid, shot and killed in the evening, we would pay. That is how it works. So the benefits, the services, we have a whole lot: funeral arranging service, mortuary service, home undertaking, caskets, chapel, reception, hearse, family rental. We do repatriation, as you saw, graveside decoration. Then we have graveside preparation, pallbearers, epitaph, tombstone, cremation, autopsy, everything about funeral. We do it so that, as I said, you can focus on the important thing, grieving and mourning your beloved. So all these are some of the things in pictorial form, the things that we offer. In fact, when you go there and you see our casket, sometimes you want to reserve some for you for the future. But what that we tell you is that, yes, new ones will keep coming. So doing it side by side, unlimited and transitions. So unlimited is going to give you cash benefits. Transitions will give you service benefits. Unlimited, the cover levels are different. So the 16 people, you can cover them with different amounts. If your in-law is troublesome and you want to just do 5,000 for her, you can do that and do 50,000 for your mom and do 40,000 for your dad. Then, you can vary it. For the funeral policy, it doesn't lapse. It's your money. So that one, when you pay small and you come, we will calculate, we'll prorate it based on the payment you've made and determine how much benefits you'll get. But for transitions, it will lapse. And for transitions, unlike the unlimited where cover levels differ, transitions is the same cover level for everybody you put on it. So be sure those you want to put on, because that one we don't vary the cover. If we choose 100,000, everybody on it will enjoy the 100,000. All right. And then with the unlimited, you can buy 2 policies, but with transitions, you can only buy 1. Unlimited, you can get some cash back if they have not been in a claim. With transitions, because it's a service, we don't actually allow you to take cash back because it's a service. So when you come, we are going to render that service, take the hassle off you, and allow you to be able to focus on the most important thing for the day, grieving for your loved one. That is transitions funeral service. Now, there's one last thing I want to add for the transitions. We know that, yes, we are going to give you a service, but sometimes, you also need some small money to do a running around. So with the transitions, whatever package you choose, we give you 30% of it as cash, as technically a donation to you. So if you choose 100,000, yes, we are going to give you the service, but we'll give you 30,000 out of the 100 as cash to you to do your running around. Then the 70,000 will be used to organize the funeral for you. That is how the transition, how well-rounded it is. We know that no matter what, even if transitions is going to do everything, it's not going to rent the guest house for some of your important guests who will come from far. So we still give you 30% of whatever package you chose. If you chose 50,000, you get 30%, which will be 15,000. If you chose 100,000, you get 30%, which is 30,000. And then the remainder is used to organize the funeral the way you want it. Of course, you can pick and choose what you want. You don't necessarily have to stick this, that. You pick and choose. You decide what you want at the point of execution, when the death has occurred. If maybe you wanted casket, but now your son who is in Canada has brought a casket from a butchery, you change that, replace it with something else. We have that flexible. All right. So I know that we have a lot of questions, but before I get there, okay, I think I'll come back to this one. So Eddie, at this point, I think I should let our people ask their questions so that they don't forget them. We'll come back to this one where we do things the enterprise and assure way, and they would leave some form of contact for us so that our people can follow up and talk to them one by one, one-on-one, and offer them a solution, not just a product. Because right now, what we do, we don't push. We are not in a hurry to push anything down anyone's throat. We want to engage you so that you understand everything and then make a decision. But at this point, I'm ready for the questions. Eddie, please, as my able host, if you would coordinate the questions for us, I'll be glad.
All right. Thank you very much, Davidson. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is Mr. Davidson Safo Adjei. A very elaborate presentation on how to distinguish between a cash policy and then a service policy. I would do a quick summary of the presentation, and then after that, we'll do a testimonial, and then we'll sort of attempt to answer the questions. So here at Enterprise, of course, there's a clear distinction between what a cash insurance policy is and what a service policy is. So the cash policy is what we call the unlimited or the family funeral plan. Now, as we have been made aware of, it gives actual cash to policyholders so that in the event of the passing of a loved one, the money that may be needed to sort of help in organizing the funeral and burial services are handled, very well because there is cash available. So that distinction has to be made clear. And it allows for as many as 16 lives maximum to be put on the policy, and so that means that you have a gamut of, options. And then it also has what we call the inflation protector. What does this do? It ensures that the value of the cash promised you under the policy is secured so that over the period, because of the possibility of a rise in inflation, the value of your investment or your benefit with us will still be able to do what you intended the policy to do, when eventually the person passes. So this is the funeral finance plan that one can take to cover loved ones in the family, and it makes room to cover as many as 16 lives. So that is a cash policy. And then on the flip side is then what we call the transitions policy, otherwise also known as the service policy. As Davidson rightly said, this one, it is actually taking the stress off your shoulder when a loved one dies, and all the preparations that ought to be put in place to ensure that that loved one is put away in a very nice way. Enterprise comes in to take care of all of that. So you don't have anything at all to worry about. And there are a gamut of services available, as he mentioned, right from when the person passes, either at home or at the hospital. You will need an ambulance to sort of carry the body to a state-of-the-art morgue at transitions, and sort of prepare the body for burial and all of that. All of these are available, including a range of caskets to choose from, nice decorated ones and all of that. And then finally, the hearse that would sort of drive the body to be buried at the gravesite. All of these are made available. And there are ranges of benefits involved. As he said, the highest of it will go as much as 100,000 Ghana cedis. And of course, one could also have something around 30,000, but it depends on what you want and all of that. But anything that has to do with burying a loved one, transitions offers that, so that it is taking the stress off your shoulder in burying a loved one. And then, as he also said, there's a bit of it also that is given out in terms of the benefit, even though it's a purely service policy. There's an amount of money that is made available to the policyholder that is 30% of the overall, benefit. So basically, this is the difference between the cash policy or the family funeral finance plan, and then the service policy, otherwise known as the transitions, policy. At this juncture, we would play a quick testimonial, after which we would come and then would address the questions posed here. So let's take a listen. Thank you so much. Davidson, please make Richard the host. I think.
Oh, okay. I think he can share. He should just go to share.
Okay,
Everybody
thank you.
can share.
All right, so we're having some little problems. So Davidson, I think at this time what we'll do is that we'll take the questions. So if you look at the questions board, you see some few questions asked, you can address them. And then those that may also have questions can also ask them, and then we address them. I think when you finish with that, we'll do the testimonial. Thank you.